Hello and welcome to episode 114 of Nolo Time. My name is Obed Velez, and with me is the most interesting man in the world, Joel Young.
What's good, Nolo time? Good to be with you all. Pleasure to be with you, Obed, yet again.
Oh,
Ready
sir.
for another good episode?
Very kindly, sir. Very kindly. How you doing, man?
Doing really good. This has been a nice week. We've had some busy weeks prior. You probably remember us, those of you that listen in, remember us mentioning how busy we've had
We were
for the last
dying
few
last week.
weeks. Yeah, it was really really busy, very fatigued.
We were
Um,
exhausted, man.
yeah, it
I can't
was.
believe we actually got through a longer than usual show last week because it was like about an hour and 10 minutes, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we had a
Yeah.
lot of content to talk about, but physically our bodies wanted to tap out at maybe the 40-minute mark. But we get through it for you guys. We enjoy this time with you all. And so I'm glad that we're a little more refreshed coming into this. I know Obed, you had a few days off too.
Yeah.
So that's always nice.
I did. I actually went to Magic Kingdom and I find that um on a Monday, it was stupidly full. It was
Oh,
ridiculous.
absolutely. Yeah.
Everything was an hour wait, and it was super crowded. I mean, luckily, I was able to score a couple of fast passes when we got in the morning to things that we wanted to do. So at least we saved, a good 2 hours in line that we didn't have to, spend. But even with that, just going around and doing, like Pirates of the Caribbean, we did like a 50-minute wait, and it was dumb. We really wanted to do. I've only done the minecart once. My daughter's never done it, but I just refuse to wait 2 hours in line.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, man.
Hopefully when Tron opens up, that's going to help a bit with
I think so.
balancing out that wait time a little bit more. I'm sure it'll still be long, but be maybe more bearable.
Yeah, yeah, because I think Space Mountain was around like 90 minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. When Tron opens, that's definitely going to alleviate some of the thrill ride woes that the Magic Kingdom has. That thing's coming along. That the Tron
It's pretty
uh,
big.
coaster, yeah, it's gonna be
It's a big
nice. That's
space.
scheduled for what, late next year or
I
2021?
think it's 2021, but we'll
Okay,
see.
yeah, it definitely looks like still needs. It's still quite a bit away. So um, but yeah, I mean, it was fun. Weather was fantastic, so I can't complain about that. And we had a great time, man. We definitely deserved the little break there that I had. It was pretty good. Tuesday was one of those days that I didn't do anything. I did spend, Joe, most of my weekend, or most of my weekend mornings with Star Wars Jedi Colin Fallen Order, which is a weird title, but
Yeah,
it is,
yeah,
in my opinion, a pretty good game, man.
absolutely.
Then we've been talking about it in the show since it got announced last year, or not, like it announced in a very weird way last year. I thought this game was going to get delayed, and in my opinion, it should have. We'll talk about that in a minute, but Joel, first impressions, right off the bat, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm happy with what I've played, and I've only played a little bit. I've not spent as much time as you have, Obed. In it. You text me right away, dude. I'm loving this thing in the morning, and I was on my way picking up Chick-fil-A at that time. I was like, I'll get this later, so I got to play it, the following on the Sunday. But yeah, really, really impressed with the little bit of time that I did have on it. I like the mechanics. I like the gameplay for the most part. I know people have compared it a lot to Bloodborne or Dark Souls. It reminded me, and someone else said this, you recall a bit, but it did remind me genuinely of Assassin's Creed in general. Just that stylism of of the fighting style and some of the adventure part to it. I do like this. What's the name of the robot? It's BD1, right?
BD1.
BD1.
Yep.
Yeah, I like this guy.
B1's
He's
cool. Yeah.
BD1's cool. I like that. That's a nice touch there. Generally speaking, I've not had any issues, but I know that I've only played a little bit on it. So I feel as though that when I get into it a little bit more, I might experience what I've heard from other people, even yourself. So, I mean, I'm sure seems like everyone seems to be happy generally. Like it's not like a massive flop, or we've heard of games before that have literally failed at their launches. This is not one of them,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, I'm happy that they were able to get this out there.
Yeah, we were a little bit concerned because the embargo, the review embargo for this
Yeah,
game was like 9 p.m. the night before the game came out,
it's
like
usually
a
not
couple
good.
hours. Yeah, that's usually not a good sign. But the game got really good reviews across the board, and I was pleasantly surprised with that. I was really excited because I had pre-ordered it after I said I was not going to, and I don't regret it at all, and it's good. I really like Cal. Is it Cal Castian? Is it?
Yes.
It's I like him, and and I think the crew from the ship, I like them a lot too. That that opening sequence. Oh, so this game has a lot of set pieces. Like you notice that right off the bat when you start playing the game, you have this set pieces in this young yard planet, basically. Um, and we don't. I don't want to go into spoilers, but there's some a lot of really good like Star Wars, uh, lore in that planet, and I like that a lot. Go ahead, man.
No, no, you're good. I'm saying you're right on. You're right on.
Yeah, yeah, and I like it because it's like questions that we've asked. It's like, why did they change
Yep.
this to that, and what did they do with this things and all that stuff. And what happened with this things after this thing happened in episode 3. That sort of thing. We get an explanation for a lot of that, and I like that a lot. It Gameplay wise, I would say it's basically, to me, it's Tomb Raider with a lightsaber.
Okay.
Because it's very similar to the Tomb Raider, in my opinion, the more recent Tomb Raider games. And I heard some people compare it to like Sekiro, basically. Like you get, Sekiro, you only have your sword, that's your weapon. So basically, you have a lightsaber here, and that's your weapon. um, and it's sort of like the same level design where you have to come back to certain areas after you get certain force power or thing, or upgraded grappling hook. And Sekiro's case, um, so a lot of people are comparing it more to that. I'm playing the game on Jedi Master, so I didn't start it on Jedi Knight, and I find that the difficulties is it's fine. I've died a lot, but that the problem that's where my technical issues with the game begins.
Right.
And you can actually go back, and Digital Foundry did 2 videos on the game already. They did a dedicated review with an Xbox copy, and they showed that the Xbox One S version of the game, or if you play the game on an Xbox One S, I should say, you're not gonna have a good time. Like there's some major problems with the game. um some of these issues are not present on the PS4, on the standard PS4 version, but there are some problems. The first one being the load times.
No
If you
load times.
die, yeah. So yeah, that'll be next gen, right? Next gen is gonna be no load time, but there's some major load time here, Joel. Because every time you die, it's like at least a 30 minute, 30. I'm sorry, a 30-second load time. God, can you imagine a 30-minute load
Oh
time?
my goodness, I
It's like
quit.
not even Sega CD or Neo Geo CD, which is like a minute and a half. That was atrocious. But
Pretty bad.
yeah, there's like a 30-second load time every time you die, basically, and it kind of stinks. You have to like wait for the game to load back up. um I ran into some issues with textures loading, and the way that I put it when we were talking about this earlier today was basically it's like the same issue that we saw with the Arkham games on PS3, with the especially with our Arkham City, where you would get into an area and the textures were like either not loaded or still loading, and you see the textures load up and pop in. That I've had that problem when loading the game initially. Like if I'm my the game I turn on my PS4, load the game up, load my save file, and that's when that problem happens. But I've seen stormtroopers a pose and move. It, it, it's in areas that you're not supposed to see the stormtrooper, but
It's lagging
but
behind.
it's basically it's not loading. Things are not loading
Yeah.
as fast as they should, and that's the majority of the technical issues that I've encountered. It's been that. And I've had I went into an underground area. I'm not gonna spoil it, but I went into an underground area, and then especially it was a tight area. So when I moved the camera around, there was always a texture that was not there, and then he popped in, or basically like part of the world was not loaded in, and he just popped in right away.
Yep.
I saw a video of Xbox, basically like of Xbox One S, that you basically just walking into air, and and things not really loading at all. It was crazy. If you guys go again, watch the videos from Digital Foundry. Those guys are doing the Lord's work over there. It's fantastic. Um, and yeah, I mean, from what I've seen, there's some issues with the PS4 Pro version, and I think it's more of like load hitching, but there's no
Mm.
textures, no texture and loading issues that they've found. And then the Xbox One X version is overall very solid. There's like no major issues with that. Again, the PS4 Pro versions, there's no issues with that at all. It's just there's some areas where it'll hitch for a second, load up, and then it'll continue. Um, but yeah, man, overall, I'm really enjoying it. I'm having a lot of fun. I was thinking about it earlier when I got home. I was like, man, I wish I could have a few minutes and just hack a couple of stormtroopers on this thing. It's fun. But yeah, I like whatever the lore that they're putting out there, and we already got a cameo, like one of the major Star Wars characters early in the game in a
Oh
hologram or
yeah.
in a holocron. So it was pretty good. It was pretty good. So I'm looking forward to get surprises, and but overall it's a fun game, man. I like it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's pretty
Yeah.
good. Yeah, and I mean, and then the other thing, of course, being the Mandalorian episode 2. Episode 3 comes out tomorrow. That was a very different episode. There was a very little dialogue. But I was surprised to see Jawas in this episode, man. That was good.
Yeah. Spoilers for those of you who have not seen it. If you haven't, what are you doing? Watch it now.
Watch it now. It's
Um,
great.
it's great. It's great. Yeah, I like how these episodes in general are quite short. They're like 40-minute long episodes. It's fine. To your point, Obed, same thing. Like dialogue is very minimal, but that's fine. It's like we're living life through. We're watching the Mandalorian live his life. They're not using a lot of exposition to give you backstory. The only part that we got somewhat of a backstory was that little flash in the first episode where we see him as a kid or whatever running away from the Empire. But so there's more to be revealed about who he is. He's very mysterious, and that's fine. In this episode, the child is what this one was called. The second one, it's really just that it's him protecting the child that we discovered in the first episode. And I love, dude, this little guy. How he just,
It's so
especially the scene
cute.
where he's coming out and he wants to help heal him, whatever,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
I was like, and he just keeps picking him up, putting him back in the thing,
In
comes
the
out, reaching his hand out,
it,
wants to help him.
that was
So
so
cute.
cute.
It's
Yeah, it
so
was so cute.
great.
Yeah,
Everyone loves it, dude. It's great.
yeah.
And
Everyone's in love with that Baby
everyone's
Yoda,
in love
man.
with this guy. It's my wallpaper on my phone, not gonna lie. But the cool news about this little guy too, I just saw this before I got on the show here, is that there was some conflicting reports from yesterday saying that there wasn't gonna be merch in time for the holidays. They wanted to push it after for spoilers, and then a report came out today from Variety just a little bit ago saying that Disney is in full on push to get the merchandise out before the
Of
holidays,
course
just
they
in
are.
time, because everybody's demanding it. They know they will sell plenty of Baby Yodas,
Yep.
so it's happening. You're very welcome. And so, but the funny thing is, one person that got to see the first episode, they told me, "Oh my gosh, I just hope we get to see him use the Force." And boom, in this
Yeah.
episode, you get a
It
great Force scene, dude.
it was
You see the
great. Yeah.
power and the intensity. It's
Yeah, yeah.
amazing.
So you can tell that this race is very very strong with the light side of the
Very
force,
strong.
and it was very That scene was really good. I knew it was like, oh yeah, this is gonna be it, and then that's exactly what happened. It was very predictable, right?
Yeah,
Because
couldn't wait.
yeah, but it was good. It was good. Man, he got jacked up. Like his armor got super jacked up by
Yeah,
that rhino thing, and it was good.
just for some food for the Jawas.
Yeah. Also, we get finally, dude, we get the explanation. Remember when Darth Vader told
Yeah,
Boba Fett when they were looking for the Falcon that no disintegration? We saw this. We finally saw what
it's
Mandalorian
good.
disintegration looks like because he took some Jawas and they just got smoked.
So good.
Yeah. So I liked it. It was a fun episode. It was like a fun thing. Seeing the Mandalorian interact with the child, and then the Jawas just like, oh no, they basically they looted his ship. I was like,
Yep.
oh, and then he's and then it's like basically just full on disintegrating Jawas. It
So
was
good.
fun, man. It was a fun episode.
It really was.
And then we see the a farmer, I guess, because
Yeah.
I don't think they've said a name, was back, and basically just like, oh yeah, it was like, hey, you helped me a lot, I'm gonna pay you half of my bounty. It's like, ah, no, it's like your gratitude is enough. It's like basically like the guy knows what's up,
Yeah.
and he respects the Mandalorian and what he did, and it's like, oh, you brought peace to my valley. That's my reward,
Yeah.
basically. So it was
I
really
have
good.
spoken.
I have spoken. He just left. Yeah, yeah, that's a good character too.
I agree.
He was good. That was Nick Nolte, right? I
Yes.
think so. Yeah, it was
Yes.
interesting. Yeah, all the prosthetics and everything. It was good. Um, yeah, I liked it. It was good. It was good, man. That I
Yeah.
am again. I'm on that train. I'm on the Star
Same.
Wars gear stuff. As you can see, I'm good. But I'm looking forward to watching the next episode tomorrow. And there were
Same.
some pictures that got out this week for episode 9. Joel, if you want to
I,
just go ahead and give us a
I,
little bit on that.
yeah, absolutely. Episode 9, full on swing marketing here as we're in the last push here. We are just days away. Literally, December 19th is when we're going to be having this movie in theaters. I'll be watching it in theaters within the first hour of its release. And so with that comes all the marketing, as I'm saying. So, there's some TV spots that have come out with some new footage. I'm trying to stay away from watching it. Some of them are like 15-second, 30-second long things, and I've seen flashes of like, I don't want to see no more. Just
Yeah,
stop it.
I've
So
seen
be
a few
aware.
things. Yeah, well, I've seen those spots.
And it's not spoilers, but it's just my point is you've seen. I think we've seen enough. I don't want us to start trying to put things together. Right? Is the thing. Let's have a nice
Yeah,
pure experience. But there are some nice images that I do believe are nothing too surprising here that have come out. There's about 8 new images, I believe, that came out for this movie from Entertainment Weekly. Really bad typography on the Star Wars font, the covers of these. I mean, it literally looks like Arial, like Microsoft Arial font, saying Star Wars across. Like, geez, that's really bad.
yeah.
But in general, really nice photos here. The ones that really stood out to me was the one of Ray getting some training with the gosh, I don't know the name of this type of orb or whatever that's used that
It's training orb. Yeah,
yeah, training orb that
Jedi training orb. Yeah.
the Jedi's train with it. We saw in A New Hope, and of course we see in the prequel trilogies as well that they use with with the young Padawans. So it's cool that she's getting her training on. She's building her confidence, is what one of the quotes was said in the article when she's using this this training orb. So that gives a little insight of when she's running around that force that seems to be Endor. She's really training there, is what it seems like to us. And there could be more things that happen while she's out there, but that's the gist of what seems to be going on there. Also, we get a nice image again of Richard E. Grant, his character with the First Order, as a general. And I still look at this guy and I get senses very strongly of the Emperor. I'm very interested to see what's going on there. I've read some interesting things. I'm trying to stay away from it, but should anything happen with him and a strong connection to the Emperor, you heard it here first on No Load Time, guys. We'll revisit this video later on.
Yeah, I guess we'll
Um,
see.
We will have to see. Another one, of course, is the stormtroopers with the snow troopers as well. It's always cool how they build a mythology, right? With these characters, always adding in some new types of militia or military for the Empire, the First Order here. Really nice shot there in the snow. But the other one thing that really stuck out to me the most was just the covers themselves, right? They released these covers having with the characters from the new trilogy, characters from the original trilogy,
And
and then characters from the
prequel.
prequels,
Yeah.
including the Emperor on the ones from the prequels.
Yeah.
Here's the thing that kicks me about them for showing all of these things. And then there's a nice little quote in the article as well that talks about the ancient Star Wars. And there's a nice quote from Terrio, one of the writers here that helped with JJ, and he talks about how 3PO is going to be essential to the storyline of Star Wars, and it's the first time since A New Hope that he's essential to the storyline. But he also goes on to say that they go down deep into ancient Star Wars and come up with something refreshingly new. And I think that's the biggest thing is that we need to stick away from that. Most people are sticking away from is the ancient Star Wars language going on there. I think it's not a surprise that from the marketing in general, they've not shied away from the prequels like they have in past films. You and I talked about the Star Wars Celebration featurette that came out that began showing, the history of historical moments in Star Wars, including the prequels that they had not acknowledged before to that extent, or really, really showing them as connected. And JJ seems to be culminating something here with this story that's
Hmm.
going on for this movie. Again, now from since that time we saw with the Star Wars Celebration, now we're seeing again these characters come to the limelight on actual marketing material. For the Rise of Skywalker, you've got prequel characters, Obi-Wan, you've got Anakin, you've got the Emperor. So dude, I think that there's definitely something that goes back into the memory bank of 3PO and the ancients, and his connection to what was before. He's the only character there outside of R2 that and of really outside of him and R2, the only ones that are really there that have a connection to the prequels of what happened there and their stories. And Don McGanty, Sweaty Nerd, talked about on the show before, the Journal of the Wills. These are the guys that are telling a story a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. So there's got to be some very important information, some events that transpire from the prequel films that most people are not looking at today. That's going to connect directly, I believe, to the
Absolutely.
Rise of Skywalker.
Absolutely. Especially the guy that's right there, front and center, Anakin Skywalker
Anakin
himself.
Skywalker.
I still think we're gonna, get a big thing happening with that. Joel, it's not on the docket. I don't know how we missed it, but I did see this morning that the next Star Wars movie is on schedule for a 2022 release,
Yeah.
and apparently they Lucasfilm is giving John Favreau more power, more power. So, so if John Favreau takes over, I mean, the rumor is based on the reporting that IGN and Tech Radar put out there.
And I trust that.
Yeah, I mean, they're trustworthy sites. They're not. What's it,
Cosmic Book News.
comicbook.com, yeah, or whatever it's called. uh I basically, the speculation is that the DB Weiss and Benioff movies that got quote unquote canceled, they've already had some work done, basically with coming up with, I guess, a concept or a story, and they're gonna try to move forward with that, with someone at the helm, with someone new at the helm, and that may indeed be John Favreau. We'll see. Based on his track record with Disney, I think that this is I think this is like an 80-20 possibility that this would happen. So, well, I guess we'll see whatever this thing is.
Yeah, I like that news. I heard about it too, Obed. I agree. It slipped us on our notes here, but I'm glad you brought it up and remembered it. I think the thing that I'm more interested in hopefully hearing that gets added onto the creative team or have a more creative say from the film side is Dave Filoni, because I loved what John Favreau has been
Yeah.
doing, and as a director, just in general, outside of even obviously Star Wars is seeing his debut with Mandalorian, but with what he's been doing with Jungle Book and other properties, Iron Man, whatever. Like I think Filoni brings a lot of like that rich um, Star Wars knowledge and that little bit of that George Lucas swagger that's balanced
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
could really help whatever they're working on. So I hope to hear that has some type of, maybe he's a producer or some type of creative say at least in what they're doing. We'll see.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I would like to see that. There's no more news on that, other than that is, quote unquote, a mysterious project.
Yeah,
We'll see what it is. Whether it be Broom Kit, I still think that's going to be Ryan Johnson's thing. But you know, I mean, a lot of people you know, want them to go back to like old Republic stuff. I would,
I want that. I want that.
yeah, I know you do. I mean, I just it would be cool to see like a Sith origin thing, right? And
Darth
that would be
Bane.
cool,
Yep,
Um, but we'll see. We'll see where this goes. I mean, we could get like a live action sort of Clone Wars thing, and I would like that too.
that's true.
So that would be interesting. Um, Joker keeps making news and crossed the 1 billion mark, as I predicted. And yeah, I mean it's right now it's sitting just under the Dark Knight Rises, and Wonder Woman as far as DC movies go. And very strong rumors that basically broke out yesterday. Today there were some conflicting reports, but um, it's basically saying that Joaquin Phoenix and Todd Phillips will uh, reunite for a sequel. Now there's all the rumors regarding what Todd Phillips is going to be doing with DC, and now that J.J. Abrams is going to be done with Star Wars and he has a new contract with Warner, what's going to happen with that? So, Joe, what's your insight on this thing?
Yeah, so first of all, yesterday, we said we got the first report coming out saying, "Hey, Warner Brothers are actively in the works right now at getting the next production set for Joker 2 and what that story is going to be and what they're trying to do there. And that the work began on greenlighting that project of Joker 2." Which is no surprise. Like you said, Obed, it made $1 billion. And I think I even said it on the show. I know I said it to some people off here. I was like, look, if it makes $1 billion, it'll make a sequel. If it doesn't,
I
then
predicted
it's not
that it
going to
was gonna
happen.
yeah I predicted that it was gonna pass
Yeah.
Suicide Squad.
And it did. You're
Yeah,
not
and it
wrong.
did.
And it should. And it should. It's a much better movie. But you know, it does. It makes sense when you hear these reports. So instantly, I was like, okay, yep, I buy into it. But the thing that was most interesting about the article that comes out about them, greenlighting the project, is that the report was that Todd Phillips was not only in discussions about coming back in for Joker 2, but also talking about other DC characters' origin stories, DC villains to be more specific. And some of the points of discussion in the article was two characters, one being Darkseid and the other one being Lex Luthor. And so, I'm like, you know what? I actually really liked that rumor. I thought that from the credible source that it came out with, it was one of those trade pieces out there that seemed to be quite legitimate. I said this sounds like good news to me, and I'm also okay with them discussing potentially, one of the other characters having, an origin story. You and I even talked about, well, Lex Luthor would probably be the one to do, grounded, historical, political, different things like that,
Yeah,
right? But then we have today, come out right afterwards, saying that no, they're not actually going to be working on this thing, or excuse me, first it was Monday we got the original story that I was saying before. Then it was Tuesday. We get the article saying that no, it's not actually happening. There's nothing. Warner's is not working on anything for a Joker 2. And then today we get the no. Todd Phillips comes out and actually comments on it and says, "Yes, I have discussed Joker 2 with Warner Brothers and Joaquin coming back and us working on this project. And we have he literally used the word negotiations,
yeah,
but he said that we have not discussed other DC characters or projects. outside of that. So it sounds to me, and I said to you a bit off air, that it sounds to me like they're really trying to do some negotiations through the press. The initial article that came out to me sounded like something that would leak from Todd Phillips' camp. Warner Brothers then's basically saying we're not bugging, we're not moving. To, basic understanding of demand and and of course return the investment. You now have Todd Phillips come out, doesn't want to be villainized as I'm making demands. So,
Yeah.
I'm not asking for this stuff, but I am wanting to do another movie. Uh, Regardless, I think the positive news is, guess what, guys? We might get more Joaquin Phoenix as Joker if that does happen, and the original director part of it. I've heard the complaints of some people saying, "Look, I think this movie people said it's a masterpiece. Do not make another one of it." Watching it for myself, I don't think they need to do another one of it. I would like to see that Joker evolve and be a part of the universe, but maybe not just his
Yeah.
character only. And people. The other joke is like, look, Todd Phillips is cool, but he ruined The Hangover when he got to the sequel. Like I'm not saying that that's a director thing in general. Most sequels struggle to recapture the magic of the first films, but I think that's a concern, right? Going into if you're just looking at it
Yeah.
subjectively about opinions of what they could be doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, I'm curious to see where DC goes with being saying, excuse me, we've been saying it in the on the show for a while now with everything that happened since Justice League was going to be out and all this stuff and all the drama behind Justice League, and we'll talk about that in a second.
Yep.
Um, I would love to see, like I said, a more uh, grounded and developed like DC universe. And they don't have to do like all of it at the same time. They could do it again, piece by piece, just like Marvel build their, for 11 years they built, up until Endgame. So they can definitely just take their time with this sort of pieces, and we got the Matt Reeves Batman coming. Again, Andy Serkis got confirmed as Alfred on that one.
Yeah, it's good.
So, you know, um, we'll. I want him to do good stuff. I haven't watched Joker yet. I can't wait to see it. I know it's coming out soon on Blu-ray. So
Yeah.
when it comes out, I don't know if it's gonna be a buy or rent. I'll rent it first and see how that goes. I think this is probably not gonna be a movie that the wife will enjoy thoroughly. I probably will. But
Very challenging film.
yeah, we'll see. But just moving right along to DC again. Um, Ben Affleck, Gal Gadot, um, basically, and all the fans, and we saw Jason Momoa uh, earlier talking about the Snyder cut of the film, and basically, like they're behind it. Like they want to see the original vision come out, and man, I mean, I would love to see that now. It's like if they're actually like the actors are behind that version of the movie, I would like to see that. To be honest with you, um, I this could be like a Richard Donner like Superman 2 when for those of you that are not familiar, Superman 2, Richard Donner got basically fired in the middle of production, or either or towards the end of the production, and he got replaced with another director, and he to put in his input, of course. Things like reshoot and effects and all this stuff were completely different back then. But the cut that we had was not Richard Donner's. And then many years, like almost like 30 years later, 25 years later, we get the Richard Donner cut on Blu-ray. And you know, basically this could be, which I heard, I haven't watched it, but I heard it's much superior to the other version of Superman 2. Yeah, I I'm curious now. Like before, it's like, oh yeah, the thing's like now coming out. This, it's just the fans being the fans and things like that, right? But now I'm for real curious to see what this cut of the movie would have been, with the difference in lighting and coloring and how Snyder would have done it. Um, now I kind of want to see it, man.
Yeah, absolutely. It's for a while the Snyder Cut thing had been talked about, but without a real confirmation from the director, I questioned if it was even legitimate, to be honest with you. Like, obviously, there's things that are filmed, but I didn't know if he actually had an edit together that even existed, an actual cut. Like, it wouldn't be a cut that's created, but an actual cut that he looked at and said, like, this is the direction I want to go with this. And because I know how they were right in the middle of production, seemingly, or towards the end of production rather, when he dropped out, when unfortunately the family member, the death of the family that transpired for him and his wife. And then when we come to Comic-Con this last year, the 50th Comic-Con, there was a really large release the Snyder Cut campaign by the fans. They bought out multiple billboards and signage and bus stop signs and planning things out to release the Snyder Cut to really kind of bring awareness that, hey, look, like, this is what we know. We know it exists. We believe it exists. And then Snyder himself starts confirming it by releasing multiple pictures. If you follow the guy on social media, you've seen the pictures he's put out of, like, this is stuff that I actually want to do in my cut. And he says he actually makes it clear in one of his posts where he says that he actually has not seen whatever they did with the movie, even though he
Wow.
knows. He said he has not seen what they did with it, but he says, look, all I know is something along the lines of this, where all I know is, when I use a god to kill a god, and he posted Wonder Woman killing Steppenwolf, which was going to be in the original Snyder cut of the movie, where she was going to literally stab him seemingly with her sword to death, in a really epic leaping scene there. So that's interesting that he wasn't going to be the way that we see, even just from a death standpoint of him being overtaken by his own creatures or whatever, like like fear or whatever, like it was going to be a
Yeah.
god killing a god, like little things like that stand
That was
out, some
so
Batman stuff.
stupid. Dude.
Yeah, yeah, now I'm
Oh,
afraid, or whatever.
oh,
But now knowing that he has come out said that this is an actual thing, that yes, there is a Snyder Cut, like he's actually campaigning for his own thing. And then the actors as well, you have Ray Fisher, who plays Cyborg, you have Ben Affleck, you have Gal Gadot, you have Jason Momoa. The only actor that has not publicly spoken about the main caster is the Flash, Ezra Miller, which is not surprising. He wasn't that good. Sorry to say that on camera. Uh,
man, it was fine.
but
I didn't. You know
understanding,
what? It,
it's forgettable. No
it's
one's wearing his T-shirt.
no. Well, no,
But
it's not that it's forgettable. I think that
him and Cyborg were kind of forgettable in the movie.
yeah. So Cyborg he was super dry,
Yeah,
but the Flash had its moments. I'm good. I'm good. I'm
yeah.
good with him. Yeah.
Maybe for the fans, not for the multitude. But I
The
will say
multitude.
that.
Oh
But I will
goodness.
say this though: if they do release a Snyder Cut, to your point, if this is a real thing and it does actually come out, I would buy it.
Yeah.
I would be greatly interested in watching it.
Me too.
So I preface that with the positive. The negative is I don't think it's gonna make the movie that much better. I don't think it's gonna make where you're
I don't
like,
know,
oh my
man.
gosh, this went from like meh, because I don't think Justice League is a bad movie, honestly. I don't.
Well,
I'll watch it. There's issues with CGI and there's some stuff in there, but it's not like a bad movie or anything. But I don't think it becomes suddenly like an amazing movie with a Snyder Cut. I think it becomes even more entertaining.
so if the thing for me, right, is if the ultimate cut of Batman v Superman it's any indication, I'm 100% in, because that movie went from a C plus to a B, to from a C minus to a to a B plus basically. That movie is a completely different movie. It's absolutely great.
I mean, if
Uh,
it's tonally different, like Batman vs Superman kind of continues the same tone, but it just gets a lot more heavier, which is what I like about the,
yeah,
the Ultimate. But like the tone of Justice League to me is just what kind of threw me for like a good time, but maybe not a
yeah.
great time, because it was it has color. It's a little different compared to the other movies, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah. We'll see.
Eh,
Hopefully it
Hopefully,
gets
we'll
done.
see.
Yeah, we'll see. Joe, let's take a quick break and we will be back with gaming news. Joe, let me tell you the sad story of the launch of the Google Stadia. Because this thing was launched Tuesday and we totally forgot that this thing was coming out last week and we didn't even talk about it. Um so at first they announced that it will was going to be released with 13 games. Three of them were Tomb Raider games, and it was definitely a less than stellar lineup for the release. Um, Sunday night, very late on Sunday night, they announced that they were add 10 more games to the release lineup. This thing launched basically a Monday night, Tuesday morning sort of thing. And it's been quite a disaster in my opinion, man. There's no dedicated store on the service itself. You have to buy your games. Oh, and again, to clarify, because a lot of people were under the impression that this was going to be like a Netflix for games sort of thing. No, you have to buy your games. So in order to buy your games, you have to basically download their basic like store app to your phone, and buy your games there. After that, like, latency has been bad. uh they've the games are not running as they should. Basically, the example that I heard was that Destiny 2 was even at 4K, or quote unquote 4K as they advertised, it was a 1080p version getting upscaled to 4K, and it was sort of running medium settings, as you would run on a PC. Um, Latency issues again. Mortal Kombat's missing features. Yeah, man. The controller's okay, I guess, for the most part. I don't think the controllers, it's horrendous. I think it's fine, but I don't know, man. We kind of saw this coming. What do you
Yeah.
think?
Yeah, to your point, it was one of those things that really slipped by us, and then of course I started seeing on social media the discussions around it, the early reviews on it, and the same thing you just mentioned, the same thing that I observed from at least the things that I saw people write and share, and that's the kind of stuff that you can't launch a brand new console with, a brand new service with. uh, Google, really could have been hitting the ground in a really nice, new, innovative way. I don't think that they had to do anything too crazy. Like, I don't think it was something that they had to come in and try and compete with other people. I just think it was more so like have a solid, safe launch. And unfortunately, if your games are lagging, if you're to your point, like their model is not what people thought it was originally. Oh, it's like you said, it's like what's the games? No, it's not. It's streaming games, but you still have to purchase the games that you're streaming. But if the quality of the services when you're streaming them are less than just good or decent, then that's going to of course affect your overall experience with it. And of course, if the morale is quite low on it, I don't think this is going to sell well going forward, because they need you need that word of mouth from the the army of opening day people that purchase them, and they're like, I'm going to get this thing because it's new and I'm excited. And then if people start having some decent good things to say about it, then of course you see ramifications later on. I think we're going to see a very negative snowball effect on this thing, unfortunately.
Yeah. So, how long do you think until they change the model to like a flat fee per month with games? 90 days, maybe?
Yeah, I could see that. We'll
Okay.
be in early New Year still, some phase, and we'll start hearing reports on that. And the thing for my point of it is like, how do you even price model something like that? Because
Yeah.
yeah, they only have a few games, but like if you're trying to build out a whole library and give people access in that way, I mean, what is that, like $20 a month? Like, how are you gonna do that
Well,
right? Like, at a
yeah.
good price?
So here's the thing: when PlayStation Now launched, it was like this. It was,
Yeah,
buy your game piecemeal and stream it, right?
yeah,
And then they went with the $20 a month, sort of, flat fee. Um, that worked for the most part, but subscriptions were very low. They didn't even reach like, I think like 500,000 or something like that. It was not great, considering you have 100 million PS4s out there plus PCs, because you can run the service on PC.
true.
Um, and that, now that they went to the $10 a month model, which I think is a great deal.
It is.
Um, that brought, I think a third more, so they reached a million finally, and ah, they have to go to something like that. I mean, Google's charging $10 a month for the service alone, plus whatever games you buy. It's expensive. I think Apple Arcade it's a much better deal than this thing.
Yeah.
In Apple Arcade is just basically playing on your phone. Yeah, I heard that there's like color, like the colors are not displayed properly, and you know if someone else on your home uses the internet while you're playing Stadia, it just poops. It,
Sounds like
it's
early Netflix days.
yeah, it's a disaster. Yeah. Oh man, I remember those days when Netflix was like you couldn't do anything else but watch Netflix.
Yep.
I remember those days. It's crazy. Um, we'll see where this goes. I mean, we'll keep an eye on it. Again, I was never sold on this thing.
Yeah.
I thought it was a cool concept, but
I liked the announcement. Was ever since then,
yeah,
it's been more disappointing as more information came out because there was just so
exactly.
little we knew at the beginning. So it's like could be cool, but
Yeah, I
now it's
think
just
that
not.
was yeah, I think that was what the big problem was. Yeah. So I mean, it is what it is for now. I know that we will see more in the future, and I'm sure this pricing model is it's going to change. Within the next few months. It's not they're not going to wait long. Because they're investing into studios and putting a lot of stuff out there. So I really doubt that they're just gonna just close it basically. So
What's a fair price to you, bet for the consumer if you were going to purchase a streaming,
as,
pipe your games and the network?
just for the service alone is like $15 a month. It's fine.
Okay.
If it's gonna stream at the quality that they're saying it'll stream, sure. And based on the games they have right now, I mean they don't have a lot,
Not
but
much.
that's a good starting point, and see how it goes. So but we'll see, man. Joe, a bit of fighting game news. First of all, CEO is coming back to Orlando, so they're moving back from Daytona to Orlando. They hosted the event at Daytona for the last 2 years. With the first year was a very overall. I think the event itself was great, but the surrounding area, it left a lot to be desired. It's Daytona, so you kind of yeah. I mean, if you guys never been, it's a wild. It's wild. Let's leave it there. I don't want to offend anyone from Daytona, but it's moving back to Orlando. Last year I heard was much better, but they had a 2 year deal with the Daytona Beach Convention Center. They're moving back to Orlando. They have not said or specified a venue for CEO or CEO Taku, so they may be moving from the Wyndham. As far as I heard, I heard Joel that there was interest on moving the event to Disney, which would benefit Disney with all this, gamers coming in and also enjoying the parks and whatnot. Although they're FGC guys, so they're broke unless they win. So, but Disney's Disney, and I know that Wild World Sports is going to open their esports venue this
Yeah,
year.
that'd be the
Let's
place.
it's still TBD on that one, or not this year, but next year.
Yeah.
It's TBD on the date, but they're basically opening their venue. So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to seeing what CEO comes up with the future. In the meantime, Joel, the new Guilty Gear game has a name. It's Guilty Gear Strive. Still no date. Basically, they're saying 2020. The game is looking better by the minute, and I'm all in, and I'm looking forward to this game. It's definitely I watched um, some of the footage from the event this past weekend, and I am very very impressed. This could very well be a next gen game, Joe. To be honest with you, the way this thing looks, um, we'll see. It looks great, and everything's a placeholder based on what they said. It's like, moves could change, damage can change. Of course, the UI, which is something that I brought in, or basically the HUD, something that I talked um, about when the game was revealed. That looked very plain. That's like, oh, that's placeholder. We're gonna rock it, basically. So yeah, good stuff. I'm looking forward to this one, man.
I agree.
Yeah, it's very good. And moving to the competition, or the guys that's still on top, at least for now. Street Fighter Five. They announced that first Gil from the final boss from Street Fighter Three is going to be added to Street Fighter Five, and they also announced that Street Fighter Fives will have a new version called Street Fighter Five Champion Edition. That's coming out February 14th, if I'm not wrong. Yep, February 14th, 2020. $30, and you get basically everything. 40 characters, 34 stages, over 200 costumes. You get absolutely everything. If you already own Street Fighter Five, you can buy this upgrade for $24.99. And they're adding a bunch more stuff. They're adding new V skills. They're changing character portraits. They're redoing some of the characters. I saw that they changed Ken's face, Joe. Freaking finally! It only took him 4 years. Should have
I've been
been
a point for a while,
should have
man.
been a patch the month after,
Oh,
man.
jeez.
And it took him 4 years, so Ken's got a new face.
Maybe now we should patch his face.
Yeah, yeah. But it looks like they're adding quite a few things. Am I in or not? We'll see. I'm
Oh, bed.
dude.
Conflicted.
It's
I,
like
I
every
sense
every
conflict
time
in you.
every every time I see something new for Street Fighter, I was like, man, I should just go back and play Street Fighter. And it's just that I can't find the time to just dedicate to practice. And if I play, I just want to go online and do stuff, and then it's awful because I'm out of practice. And but I really, really, really want to get back into it. And now with Guilty Gear, Guilty Gear has got me really excited. Like, I really want to play that game. Like seriously play it. Like, not play it. Play arcade mode and finish it. Like, I really seriously want to play that game. So we'll see. This may be the one that brings me in because I haven't been back to Street Fighter in like 2 years. So we'll see. And yeah, but it's it's something that's got me excited. Um, and next year, for the most part, I mean, other than the Last of Us that's announced, it's pretty dry. I mean, we got the Persona 5R and the other Persona 5 game, the Muso game that's coming out. Maybe I'll grab one of those. We'll see. But in the meantime, I may just go ahead and buy this champion edition and see if it'll get me in. We'll see. Yeah. Joe, final bit of news that we have here. There is a patent for what seems to be the official final look of the DualShock 5, as they're calling it. Um, I'm gonna go to you first. First impressions. What do you think?
I mean, it doesn't look that different, and that's what everyone's saying. Like, it's not that drastic of a change, and that's fine because I really love the PS4 controller, like DualShock 4. Like, compared, it puts all the other DualShocks to shame, in my opinion. Like, it's the other ones, like, as much as we might like our PlayStation consoles, there was always a lot of room for improvement in the controllers. I'll give it to Microsoft. They have really nice, comfortable controllers for their Xbox consoles, and for a while Sony really struggled there. So I think with PS4 they got off on the right note with comfortable controllers, and DualShock 5 seems to be continuing that. It looks a little bit bigger. Reports are that it's a little bit chunkier. The interesting thing that stood out to me the most was that the touchpad is still there. Like,
Yeah,
that's something that I actually thought would go away. I feel like there's more to be used with that. Like, I feel like it's been used mostly as a button, which is cool. but I feel like there's got to be some cool stuff that they can do eventually with it more as developers figure out how
Yeah.
they want to utilize it. I don't. There's not many games that really utilize it in a cool way. When I remember when Assassin's Creed 4, that was one of, like, the first times I actually used it for like a map and like open stuff up. I was like, there could be some cool stuff you could do with this.
Yeah, there was a Infamous Second Son used it
Yeah,
for some of the QuickTime stuff. But yeah, I mean, not much use other than it being a button.
yeah.
Joel, I'm sending you a link so you can take a look at that.
Okay.
But it looks just like the Scuff Vantage controller for PS4. If you look at it, with the
Uh,
exception that the sticks are not offset, you're basically lined up at the bottom. But it looks just like a Vantage. You don't have the light bar based on the patent, and its shape looks very much like a Scuff, except for the the touchpad seems to be much larger than the one on the Scuff. I confirmed that it's USB-C, so we can see the USB-C port on the patent. Um, there's something very interesting, Joel. I don't know if you noticed that it has two jacks at the bottom. Maybe
yes.
a dedicated microphone jack,
Separate
and
than the
and
headphone.
separate than the headphone, so you can use a headphone and a dedicated mic. Kind of like you can use like a full on PC
Mm-hmm.
headset where you have your mic and your audio coming out of two separate cords. So maybe that's why they did it. Maybe they have one universal jack and one and and then a second jack in case you want to use a PC headset. But yeah, I mean, it looks good. It looks comfortable because it looks a little bit bigger. The grips look a little bit bigger. That's always welcome. Um, we will see. There's lots of rumors coming out. Again, that the saw another rumor this week that I guess November 2020 for 500 is what they're targeting. That's basically what I predicted. So
Yeah.
that's that I think that should be their move, based on specs and based on. I saw another article today saying that performance wise, it's doing better than the Scarlet.
No, no
So
surprise there.
yeah, I think they're making sure that they're fine tuning this
Sure.
thing to be a powerhouse. I know that Xbox may have some better library tools and whatnot,
Yeah, for sure.
but at the end of the day, if you have the proper tools, like the with the PS4, right, and you have the good hardware, you can take this thing far. So curious to see what all this is gonna be like. Maybe this will fix the issues with Jedi Fallen Order when we play it backwards
It's very
compatible.
important.
It's very important. It's a good game, guys. Go and get it. It's that have zero microtransactions. You can't complain about this one. Has
Come on.
zero, none of
Yep.
them. Yeah, we'll see where this goes. I'm excited for next year. There's a lot of good stuff coming out, a lot of interesting stuff coming out, and yeah, it's gonna be a great year for gaming again because we've had the last 2 years since we started the podcast. I think it's been like solid
Some
solid
good
2 years,
Oh
man.
yeah, some good years for the show for sure, of good stuff to cover. One thing really quickly to point out though with
Yeah,
the controller, Obed,
yeah, man.
is like with the scuff, with stuff you said here. Really, do you agree? I agree. It does look really similar to that controller that you sent me here. But I was thinking, like, even with with them removing what it looks appear like they're removing the light bar from the controller, which really was not being utilized at all. You can't really see it from where you're sitting,
Yeah,
and
yep,
like it doesn't make sense. It's probably eats up your battery, what yada yada yada. But
yep.
if they do for some reason want to still use that tech that they were trying to integrate, where it would maybe show close to your health or whatever, that kind of thing, I mean, they could maybe even make the touch bar glow or something. Like, there could be something in there that we don't know about,
There's
if they
probably,
really
yeah.
wanted to, or even the triggers glow, or I don't know. Like, there's probably ways around it if they really want to. So I feel like when we see the final design, like in its hey guys, this is what we got, like it will make more sense.
Yeah, yeah, they'll probably have some sort of indicator on the top of the touchpad, like the revised model of the
Sure.
DualShock 4, where you have the little line on top of the touch bar.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll get something like that, because it has to have some sort of indicator.
Yeah.
So that's probably gonna be it. That's probably gonna be it. I know that the light bar was done for more for the PlayStation camera for the
Yes.
motion tracking on
Tracking.
that. Yeah, so that was why it was like that. But if they're taking out the light bar, that means that the next VR headset that they're going to release, it's probably not gonna use that, and it's gonna use some other motion sensing
Sure.
tech on it. So it's cool. It was one less thing. You don't have to have a camera for your VR probably. So
Yeah,
it's
that's
gonna
cool.
alleviate
It's
a
advancement.
lot of issues. Yeah.
Mm.
But Joel, that is what we got. Unless you have anything else, let's go ahead and wrap it up, man.
No, I don't have anything else. I do want to give you all a PSA. This coming week is Thanksgiving here in the States. And so Obed and I will not be having a new episode drop this coming week. I know, sad too. I really enjoy doing this, but it's also important we recuperate, get refreshed, and we'll come back more with some more really good content. But with that, it's our invitation to make sure you guys stay subscribed to our show. Make sure to follow us, subscribe to our show on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, and Spotify. Also, want to make sure to remind you guys to follow us on our social media at No Load Time. That's at No Load Time on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. Also, want to make sure you guys know you can send in any comments, feedback to us here. So send an email to noloadtime@gmail.com. That's noloadtime@gmail.com. Thank you all so much again, and we look forward to seeing you guys on our next episode when we return.
Thank you guys, and if you're in the States, have a good Thanksgiving. We'll see you again next time.